And welcome back. We're back with Capitol Dateline, and we are here with the online media leaders, Brian Burgess and Peter Schorsch.
Influence Magazine, now on stands. You can get a subscription at Influence Magazine Florida.
Shameless plugs.
Perfect holiday gift right there.
Shameless plugs are allowed. We'll come back to shameless plugs later. Okay, let's jump into some amendments. So constitutional amendments are big. They changed Florida's constitution. We're one of 16 states that allows it. Let's talk about the big one, marijuana. Where do you guys stand? What do you see that happening? How do you see that playing out in Florida?
Amendment 2 is going to pass. I mean, we have not seen a poll where it's been under 65%. In the last time we saw a lot of polls where it was 56, 57, and it was a question. The Amendment 2 people, the anti-marijuana forces, Sheldon Adelson is busy trying to get the Raiders to Las Vegas. He has not cut a big enough check to stop Amendment 2 in Florida.
Yeah. All right.
It's going to be the Wild West. Once that happens, and right now you've got 5 and maybe 6.
You've got 6 families.
6 families here with it's going to be
right.
a very interesting
time in Florida. That was a purposeful mob reference to the marijuana control industry right now.
So let me ask you a question. Implementing language in Florida, once something like this passes, how long does it take versus how long do people open a storefront and start selling it?
Well, we're not Colorado. Right. I don't think it'll be that fast. I think the legislature was very deliberate in how they structured it. I don't know from a conservative standpoint that it's the right thing for a government to be picking winners and losers, but they did it for a reason, and their logic and their explanation is that they don't want to be Colorado. Right. So I think there is at least some sense of we need to take our time and be very cautious with how we do this.
Right.
It is a green rush. I think November 9th you are going to see trailers with you're going to see, just like you see pop-up restaurants, you're going to see pop-up marijuana
like fireworks
dispensaries.
stands.
And they are going to come here and they're going to be told, it's going to be a question of keeping them out rather than inviting them in now.
Yeah.
I think it will be like California. I think we're going to run into some serious issues in 2 or 3 years when you have the pot dispensary next to the daycare, and it's going to become an issue. All
right, next amendment actually is Amendment 1, which is the solar amendment. How do you guys see that one playing out?
That one's going to be close right now. I thought with the $21 million that Duke and Florida Power and so forth have spent to pass that, I thought it was going to pass a little bit easier. Polls say that it's going to pass, but there seems to be a little bit of opposition. Some of the editorial boards are starting to pop up. There's a little bit from the environmental groups. I still think it passes, but on that one, I would not bet against the spread.
Okay.
Right. I think he's got it right. The editorial boards and those folks who are looking at this thing, they know exactly what was done with the amendment and the merging with Floridians for Solar Choice. And so what you have is a situation where are people paying close enough attention to this? And I think the Hillary Trump thing is probably sucking the oxygen out of the room. You're not going to have people really digging deep down into it where they're going to find out, oh, I don't really like this one. I think it's going to pass.
Right. Okay. So
quick, name Amendment 3.
No.
Forget it. So let's talk a little bit about the condition of the electorate. This is a citizens' situation. We've got the presidential election that's just been driving everybody up the wall, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent. What do you guys see out there as where is the electorate's mindset right now?
I think people are hurting. I keep going back to that. One of the statistics I've seen is the lowering of the life expectancy among working white class Americans in this country. For the first time in history,
you're looking at me like,
it has declined, and that's because opioid use and alcoholism is at historic epidemic rates. People are still hurting. So we are going to get past Clinton and Trump, and very quickly, we're going to start talking about 2018 and 2020 to Marco Rubio's everlasting delight. But people are hurting. We have not seen median wage increase in a while. People are scared about what's going on with ISIS, with Russia. I mean, there was an article on Drudge yesterday talking about how we were basically going to go to war with Russia all of a sudden. It's like, what? It's like an issue of war games all of a sudden.
There's been a few of those. But I think that where the electorate is maybe in 2 places, but at least on my side of the aisle, the electorate is tired of the same old, and that's been Trump's argument. He has not done a good enough job of pushing it out there. Right. He hits it, and then he moves on to some other distractions, and that's the problem. But the point he keeps making is that people are tired of it. Hillary Clinton and folks like her have been in power, as you said, and maybe people are hurting. Barack Obama has been in power for 8 years. Why are they still hurting? That's a great argument for Trump to make. And it's a great argument against Hillary when she's been in power or out of power or near it for 25, 30 plus years. Right. He just hasn't, he's not on message enough, and he hasn't been disciplined enough to drive that point home. But people are really receptive to that on the Republican side.
What happens to those people when they, I'm sorry, what happens to those people when they lose? I mean,
they become
what happens?
They become Adam Putnam's problem in 2018.
Okay,
so we'll get to Adam Putnam in a second, but last question. So insiders in past elections would always point to demographic switches, Cubans, Hispanics, are they the same, are they not? Puerto Ricans, what's the story? Blacks, you name the rest of the demographic pool. Does any of that matter in this election when you look at the tiredness on both sides of the electorate? Peter?
Female voters, number one. I mean, that's a larger demographic. I mean, there's only another choice on that one. But female voters are where this is being decided. I think that's Trump's problem. He has a ceiling of about 46% nationally. Right now, if you're Donald Trump, if you're really trying to win this election, how do you claw back? How do you get any female voters? How do you get the proverbial suburban voter in Philadelphia to come back? And I don't think he gets there. I think the fat shaming, I think the attacks on the Miss Universe, I think the sexual scandals, all of that. I'm sorry, as a father of a 4-year-old, I'm just having a lot of trouble with that. And I just, no matter how much we're hurting, I don't know that he claws back a single female voter since, what was that, 10 days ago when the Access Hollywood tape came out.
Right. Clawing back is going to take him out of character for one thing. He can't soften up too much. That's his biggest problem. His best closing argument in these final 3 weeks is to go back to what I mentioned just a moment ago, which is appealing to those voters who are fed up with the system. He appealed to people in the Republican primary because he convinced them that he was the guy that could come in and kick over the Capitol Dome in Washington, D.C. and shine some light in there and scatter all the cockroaches. That's sort of the argument.
Did you just call Paul Ryan a cockroach?
And so he needs to
break out the foil hats.
I didn't actually specify which ones, but I guarantee you there's a few cockroaches that would scurry if someone was willing to do that. And that's what he sold his candidacy on. He sold that bill of goods to the Republican electorate, and he's got to go back to that in the closing weeks. And there's no room, and there's no time, and it's not who he is. To go ahead and try to soften up and win back all those female voters. And I agree with you, he's got a problem.
Okay, let's take a breath from the national craziness, and let's just look at Florida for a second. Congressional races, state, House, and Senate races. Any favorites there? Anything interesting going on in any one race? Peter?
The big race that's drawing national attention is going to be Charlie Crist versus David Jolly in my neck of the woods down in Pinellas. It's got some national implications with some Trump ads and so forth. That one will be close. Also, one of the upset races that they're talking about where Trump is playing is Congressional District 7, which is Stephanie Murphy versus incumbent John Mica. I would look for Stephanie Murphy to upset Mica. There really isn't a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of these were decided at the primary level, so there isn't as much excitement down ballot. I will say, as an overarching theme, what we will see after 4 years since the redistricting process ended, dramatic turnover in Congress, in the people that are representing us in Congress. Absolutely little change in who's representing us in the legislature. For everything, for all the heat that we talked about with the redistricting process, it's probably still going to end up with a Republican supermajority in the House and probably a 26-14, 25-15 ratio in the Florida Senate.
Right. Okay.
No big surprises, I don't think. I do agree that Mica is in a battle, and I think that Stephanie Murphy, not Aaron Patrick Murphy. Stephanie Murphy she's an attractive candidate who is much more appealing to like the average swing voter than John Mica, who has been there for years. And so he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to win. And that might be a bellwether for the rest of the state, just because it's a little bit of a toss-up at this point, and we'll see which way those things break. I also like Brian Mast out of to replace Patrick Murphy in District 18.
Okay, all right.
I will just say, when a wave comes, it's like that movie Poseidon, though. When a wave comes, it takes 50 or 60 people out, like it did in '94 or 2006.
So you're predicting a wave.
I'm not predicting a wave, but if
like
a wave happens, we're not going to see it coming, and we're going to lose people in safe districts across the board.
And it will have a substantial impact on the legislature, the Senate, all those things, and it's going to be real interesting if that happens.
So let's talk about the wave. Okay, 2018, we've got deep benches on both sides. Who do you guys see in the final showdown in 2018, if you had to guess today?
We're talking about
on for governor, Democrats or Republicans?
Well, I think I think if you want to run for governor in 2018, on the Republican side, you want to be in Adam Putnam's shoes, no question. But he has some work cut out for him. It is not going to be a walk to the nomination for him if he has any kind of legitimate, well-funded opposition, because it's just going to be a tight battle for him.
There's a reason why Adam Putnam has not, why the nomination has not coalesced around him yet. It's kind of the Jeb Bush 2 factor there. I think you're going to continue to see more and more Republican candidates. There's at least 1 or 2 Republican billionaires whose names we don't know that are going to jump into this race. I think the Democratic side is actually coalescing much quicker than we would have thought. I think we thought it was going to be a 3 or 4-way race. I think Charlie Crist will be happy in Congress. I think Bob Buckhorn will probably get an appointment to D.C. I think Philip Levine out of Miami just doesn't have it in terms of statewide appeal. I think Gwen Graham has been running a gubernatorial race since she announced that she wasn't running for Congress. So I think the best, or the person that's in the best position right now is Gwen Graham. But can she push back against a Hillary Clinton off-year
That's
reaction?
What I was saying. I think that's going to be the biggest problem is if Democrats win this year, it's with Hillary Clinton, who is largely unpopular. And I think the danger for Democrats is to think this is a mandate election, and it's not.
Will Weatherford on the Republican side.
Okay, so we're going to do some rapid-fire questions here as we round out this meeting. What should Floridians look for on each of your respective sites the day after the election?
We do a very comprehensive winners and losers list. I think after session it was something like 8,000 words. We call out the consultants, the campaign managers.
Okay, we're short on time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to make fun of the stuff he gets wrong, mostly.
Okay, all right, good. Election night, where are you spending it?
The Vinoy.
Okay.
Probably right here somewhere, right here in town, somewhere downtown.
Okay, don't have time to get to Pokemon, but that's all the time we have for now, right? But we will definitely see you guys back soon. And we would have gotten to having Mark Caputo on the site today, but of course we ran out of time.
Born during a bitter winter in Valley Forge, grew up fighting for freedom on foreign soil. People have knocked down walls for it, dreamed about it, risked their lives to get it. A little piece of America, free to anyone willing to do a job, fill a need, chase a dream, or just work hard enough to do the impossible. There are those who think the American experiment is over, that our time has come and gone. The rest of us will keep on inventing and innovating and doing what people say can't be done, because that's what we were born to do. Florida Wins urges you to protect American opportunity with the most powerful tool you have, your vote.